Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so sorry that I am late here. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but I am very excited to be sharing some information about our annual CPC preparation program. So excited to everyone that has joined us live. If you're watching this from a recording standpoint, welcome. And my name is Leslie Bowles. I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about our CPC prep program and some of the amazing things that we have coming up in January. So I'll give everyone just a moment to come on in. I know that I started a little bit late. And so I wanted to make sure that I give everyone time to log on. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Just a little bit about myself. So we have been running this program here at Revu Healthcare, I would say for the last 4 years. But me personally, I've been involved with the CPC prep program for about 10 years now, which seems like a long time, but it has flown by really quickly. And so this slide just gives you a little bit more information about me, but we want to talk more about the program. So let's tell you a little bit more about the program overview and what the prep course includes. So over the course of the program, you're going to be introduced to different content by weeks. And you'll see here, we provide an outline of what those weeks look like. Now, bear with us as we do need to update these slides so that it reflects the dates that we're actually launching in 2026. But this just gives you an overview of how we break down course content. The way we look at the class is we sort of pick it apart the way the CPT book or the procedural coding book is formatted. And so we look at each specialty or area week by week. Now, the total time of the course is 14 weeks, in which we have 2 break weeks. The reason why we do that is because it's just a lot of information in a short amount of time. And so those weeks gives you time to sort of just take the information in, retain it, and answer any questions that you may have. We do make ourselves available as instructors. One of the things that I should mention, myself and Shelby Washington are going to be the lead instructors for this program coming up in January. And so we're excited to welcome Shelby to the team as she assists with leading the class. And so again, just going back to the slides for a moment, each week we focus on a different area. So you'll see here, week 1, we focus on just the course introduction, the basics of coding, which is really, really important. Many of the criteria around the course, which we'll talk about in a couple of slides, does kind of give you insight into what we expect you to already know, right? Prior to even being allowed to sit for the course. But we do go over some of those basic foundational things because they're really, really important to help just prop you up for what's to come, especially at the fast pace. And then as time goes on, we start to get into some of the more meatier topics, right? We're getting to the evaluation and management coding, and then we get into the skin system and musculoskeletal system. It's really important to note, as along with the procedural coding for each of these weeks, we also dive into the diagnosis coding, the ICD-10 coding that's specific to these areas, along with some anatomy and physiology and medical terminology. As I mentioned before, it's really important for you to have this sort of training and background prior to sitting for this class, but we do also integrate that because it's really applicable to each of the different specialties that you see here, or the different systems. And so just moving along, one of the things that we stress to students that are really important are have these required materials. Our course costs does not include these materials. So let's just start with the medical course prerequisite. Medical terminology and anatomy and physiology are really key for this course. And so it is really important for all applicants, whether you're doing it now, or maybe you're deciding on it or in the future, for you to have had in some way, shape, or form, either a medical terminology or anatomy and physiology course. What I always tell people about medical coding is that it's almost like learning another language, right? And so having those foundational aspects are really, really important for this course. So that's a prerequisite. It is a requirement. We have turned students away if they have not. We do offer resources though. Like, let's just say you didn't take it, or you took it 5 years ago and you want a refresher, we do have a partner that we work with, Coursera, where they have medical term and anatomy and physiology courses that you could take in between the time of now and the time the course starts. And so we have seen success with that. A lot of students tend to do that as refreshers. Even some individuals who are very adamant about really wanting to take the course, they will go that route. So that's important to remember too. Textbooks. So there are key books that you need for the course. It's CPT, your ICD-10 diagnosis coding book, your HCPCS Level 2 book, and then your CPC study guide, which is from the American Academy of Professional Coders. So when you fill out our interest form for the course, Markia, who is our lovely project manager, she does forward you the link to those resources so that you have everything in preparation for the course. Let me just say again that the textbooks are not included in the investment for the course. So just keep that in mind. And we'll talk about what the investment costs and all of that are in just a moment. One of the other things that are really important for the course is technology, right? Having a laptop like how I am, or a desktop where you can sit and actively be engaged in the course. We do require for all of our students throughout the course to be on camera. It's really important. I know we're in a virtual environment. Everyone loves virtual, but one of the things that we have not wavered on is the fact that we want you to be attentive. We want you to be involved. And so being on camera allows us to engage with you, you to engage with the other students in the course, and really just retain the information in a more impactful and effective way. So technology is important. So that means that if you plan to take this course and you want to do it on your cell phone, or you want to do it on an iPad the whole time, unfortunately, that limits your engagement and your ability to do what you need to get from this course to be successful. And we don't want to do that. So please, please, please think about technology, right? When it comes to what you're utilizing to take the course. All right, so let's talk about the CPC exam as a whole. What we're preparing you for is to pass this exam. This exam is administered by the American Academy of Professional Coders. There is 100 multiple choice questions. They give you 4 hours to take the exam, and it seems like a lot, but that time goes by really, really fast. And so we give you testing strategies in harmony with all of the other great information and content that we provide from a module standpoint. You do get one free retake, I believe that's still in place, for in-person test taking option. They do have a virtual option. I don't believe that virtual option includes a free retake. So consider that when you're thinking about which way you want to go, if you are already investigating the CPC exam and what comes with it. We do call this an open code book test because you are allowed to utilize your coding books while taking the exam. And so that is one of the reasons why we focused a lot on familiarizing yourself with the coding books, coding practices, coding guidelines, coding clinics, because essentially the test is testing you on that capability, right? If you are able to navigate the coding books, it's not an encoder or any electronic system. It's code to book. It's the way I like it. That's how I was trained. And so I know that we're going in different directions now, but it is coding with the books. So that's the way we teach you in class. From a grading perspective, you need a 70% or higher to pass. And so you think about that from 100 multiple choice questions. That means you have to get 70 correct and 30 only can be incorrect. Reason why I like to frame it this way, so it gives you real life insight into what you're trying to achieve here. And so this is a great way to remember that for the exam. So if you kind of equate that 100 multiple choice questions to 4 hours, that's about 2.5 minutes per question, right? Now, of course, that's not necessarily the reality. Some questions you might get through really quickly, other questions you may not. But that's one of the things that we like to reinforce with our students so they have an idea of what they are, walking into and what it's going to look like. I will tell you, in my experience, lots of times the time portion is one of the biggest reasons why people fail the exam, because they never really think about nor expose themselves to the time constraints until the day of the exam, which is not a good thing. And so we do that really effectively in our course in ways that have been really strategic and just beneficial for our students. So I think not to brag toot about our course, but it's really one of our preparation methodologies that has been just extremely successful. All right, so a couple of things. The classes will not be recorded. Okay, so I always get this question every time we roll out this course. Will the courses be recorded? No, of course not. That would prevent all of the engagement and all of the great things that makes this course so successful. So you don't have to ask that question because it won't. When it comes to absences, we understand that life sometimes is just life, right? And there's nothing you can do about it. But when you make an investment and a commitment to this course, the way we want you to think about it is like, okay, my plan is to be at every course on camera every single time. Of course, little things may come up where you may be sick or something, family emergency, whatever the case may be, which is why, we kind of established this benchmark of up to 2, but 2 or more. At that point, we don't consider it to be valuable, right? If you're missing that many courses or classes. And so consider that. Consider your schedule, consider what you have coming up, consider vacations. It's not that we don't want you to take the course, but we also want you to be effective. We want you to be successful. We want you to successfully pass the CPC exam. So take that into consideration. And in order to receive a certificate of completion, students must successfully complete the course within the allotted time frame. So successful course completion includes an attempt of all of the required assignments. So that means all of the assignments that we provide, and a passing score of 70% or higher on all module quizzes and homework. So that's collaborative. Now, the reason why we take the same approach as the exam with the 70% is because it's preparing you for what to expect, right? And so, again, just a really effective way to just get our students in testing mode. One of the other things is please remember to bring all books required for class. Let me just add this. The American Academy of Professional Coders and Optum and one of the other vendors that we utilize for this course, they do have a virtual option, right, to purchase the books. You can choose to buy what worked for you. However, I am strongly recommending that you purchase the physical books. Okay, I'm going to say it again. The physical books is what I'm recommending. It is not required, but when it comes to being able to navigate through the book, understanding the different elements, my experience as an instructor has shown me that some of our students are challenged more with the electronic version of the book. So just the recommendation there for you, that's very strong, for you to purchase the physical books as well. Okay, so let's talk about the investment. So the investment for the program itself is $2,999 per student. The textbooks, which are required if you become a member of the American Academy of Professional Coders, that textbook amount would decrease to $229.99. If you choose to stay a non-member, the textbooks, because there's a bundle, is $259.99. And so we also provide you with the amount of the AAPC membership, along with the certification exam amount and the Coursera course amount, which for those individuals I either want a refresher for the anatomy and physiology or the medical terminology class, this is the amount for that when it comes to the monthly subscription. So the amount at the bottom gives you your total investment, all-in investment for tuition and textbooks as a non-AAPC member and as a member with the tuition and textbooks. So it gives you something to look at and sort of evaluate what works for you. The reason why I'm using the term investment and not price, because sitting for this exam is an investment into your future if you are very serious about becoming a medical coder. And so this starts that journey. And so that is an investment, right, that you're looking for a return on in the future. And so we use that term so that you can take this part of the journey or the process very seriously, because this is where it begins. This is where you learn. This is where you start utilizing the building blocks to pass the exam. And it's a very, very important part of your journey as a medical coder. So that information is there for you. Don't worry. This information will be circulated to all of those that registered via StreamYard. for the webinar. And so you'll have access to this PowerPoint. All right, so what are some frequently asked questions? Is the certification exam included? No, it is not. It's a separate cost. This is why on the previous slide, we categorize them separately. So you know, our classes in person. Our classes are 100% virtual. We utilize what's the correct word for it? A learning management system called Talent LMS. It's a great centralized way to just structure our virtual classroom environment. We also utilize Teams for our classroom, the day of the course or the day of each day of the course. We utilize Teams for it. And so it's just an easy way to access classroom environment and the live instruction, well, virtual live instruction. And so there are no on-site in-person classes whatsoever. What learning management system do we use? Again, we utilize Talent LMS to house our course content. It's very user-friendly. We love it. This is why we keep investing in it every year as a firm. When should I schedule my exam? I get this all of the time. I have seen different scenarios. I see that some students, they're sitting for the course, and then all of a sudden, week 10, they're like, they're not telling anyone, I've scheduled my exam and I passed, right? It depends. This journey for each person is unique. It depends on when you're ready. And we do take that into account as we are providing the instruction and the content to you. But even when we meet one-on-one to talk about progress, we will absolutely say to you, based off of your grades and your engagement and everything else, hey, let's wait for you to take the exam. Here's what we're recommending, and here's why. And this is a great part about being in the classroom environment. We can assist with that. But I've seen all sorts of success stories. I've seen a lot of success stories with waiting. I've seen some with people deciding to take it right away. So it is a unique journey, and it's specific to you, right? It is recommended right after you complete the course, not to wait 2 or 3 years, right, to then take the CPC exam. We feel at that time you've probably lost a lot of the information that you learned, especially if you're not in a coding role itself. And so it's important to look at your circumstances, and we do assist with that during the course of the classroom environment. Is there an installment plan available for your investment costs? Yes, absolutely. So we have different payment plan options for you, and we've increased them from last year to this year. And so I think everyone will be pleased with the different options that we have. And then I cannot stress again that classes will not be recorded. We will not beat that like a dead horse, but yes, classes will not be recorded. Although it is a question that is asked over and over and over again, they will not. All right, so that is the end of this informational webinar about our upcoming CPC course. I'm very, very excited. It's one of the ways that I became a coder with a course like this. And so I've always made a vow from the time I started coding that I would give back. And this is my way of giving back to give everyone career opportunities or other career choices that may benefit them in the future. So if you are thinking about joining us in January, we're excited to have you. We're looking forward to seeing you. We have students who have already registered and signed up and ready to go, and it's exciting. If you're on the fence about it, please review this information, rewatch this webinar, ask questions. Our entire team at Revu Healthcare, Markia, myself, Ethel, Nate, we're all here to assist and just answer as many questions as you need to make a decision. So I want to thank everyone for joining today. This is fun. I love to talk about coding. I love to talk about teaching coding in our wonderful program here at Revu Healthcare, and I hope to see everyone soon. Have a great day, everyone.